coming to you live from the same location and a new location.
Or am I?
So I'll let you guys figure out who's coming from what. Yeah. So we're back and the Super Bowl's over. Apparently Kyle Shanahan doesn't know the rules and Andy Reid's playing 4D chess.
Seriously, well, I was it you? No, it's Scott I was talking to on Twitter, because I will never call it X, and
no one does.
No, but so I was talking to Scott on Twitter, and I remember that last drive for the Chiefs. As that clock was winding down, I was sitting there going, what the crap are the Chiefs doing? Like, they're not giving themselves enough. Like, I was like, they can take enough time to like try for 2 or 3 times for the end zone. But instead, I realized after I thought about it, I was like, oh, Andy Reid's just playing for the like, they're gonna do one play and then one field goal and not leave enough time for the
we're gonna go back
49ers
we're going to double OT.
Yeah, to win it, because then if you get into double OT, the rules basically reset. Everybody
it would reset again. Yeah, which was interesting because I get Shanahan said we wanted the third possession, and it's like, well, there wasn't one.
There was no third.
There was no third possession.
Each team just took their time to get down the field. If you wanted the third possession, you should have been you should have been heaving the ball.
Yeah, probably.
Should have trusted Purdy to do just a little bit more than you trusted him.
That situation just got weird because they lost a Greenlaw, which didn't help them, and then Samuel's wasn't healthy.
The Greenlaw thing was so freaking weird.
Yeah, sniper, torn Achilles.
Well, and that's the thing. Like last year, we were all complaining like turf and everything, and so they did like a better mixture with the grass this year. And Greenlaw comes out and jumps on the field. And it's like
he's dead.
Happened?
I don't know.
It's like, well, I mean, from what it looked like, it really looked like one of those injuries that just kind of happens because he was jumping around a little bit.
He just did. He was just like getting loose. Like, all right, let's go.
I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying, like, sometimes when you're moving around, like,
you just get old.
Something wrong. And
it's when you get old, you turn the wrong way, and all of a sudden your back seats up and you're on the floor.
Yeah,
but
no, I thought it was a great Super Bowl. I mean, maybe some people don't love that kind of thing. Maybe people would prefer the like gunslingering, 55.
I don't mind the
49.
I don't mind the methodicalness. The most boring Super Bowl I ever watched was by far Rams Patriots. Not the first one, but the rematch from like in 2016 something in Atlanta. Like that Super Bowl was a absolute snore fest. Because I
don't really remember that one all that well.
Yeah, it was like 13-6 or something. Like it wasn't that exciting, or 16-6. Like there were no touchdowns. I watched that Super Bowl at all. There were no touchdowns. It was literally the most boring Super Bowl of all time.
I might have watched it because back then that was just before that was around the time that Abby and I matched on Tinder.
Yeah, in 2019 it was 13-3 and no touchdowns were scored, or there was one touchdown.
I'm thinking probably what happened was I went over to somebody's place to watch it and just didn't care.
The lowest scoring Super Bowl of all time.
Was that 2016?
It was 2019.
2019. Because I was gonna say 2016. Actually, no. 2016. I do remember watching 2016 because that was the Broncos and the Cam Newton.
That's right. That's Super Bowl.
The Panthers, right? Carolina Panthers.
Yeah, that Super Bowl sucked also too because Maroon 5 was the musical half.
Yeah,
was the halftime.
But your boy Peyton got his second Super Bowl ring. I'm sure you were happy about that.
I will never be happy about the Denver Broncos winning anything in my entire life.
Even if it means that you're probably one of your favorite QBs of all time.
I was happy my boy Peyton got his second ring. I will not, hide from that, but I'm not happy that a certain organization did anything well.
I just remember that one because I don't remember why, but my cousin, who was also like my professor in college at the time, he and his family invited me over to their house to watch the Super Bowl. And they had in his house when he lived here, they had like this theater downstairs. And so they were watching most of the people that they had over were watching the Super Bowl upstairs on like just this like normal flat screen. But I was like downstairs in the theater with like all this all the sound just reverberating around me, and I'm just like, oh, this is the best way to watch football. So now if I ever get really wealthy, I'm gonna have a
theater.
basement. I'm gonna have a basement theater where I can just like sit and like where it'll have so much soundproofing. So like when Abby and I want to watch our shows at the end of the night, we can just like go down to the theater and just be like inundated, and our kids will know just to like send us a message if they need us.
Yeah. So Super Bowl was good. I guess no one really understood the rules except for Andy Reid, who again was playing 4D chess. I think we're moving in the right direction with it. I really just rather them go to the college thing, start at the 50 and just go nuts.
Andy Reid is probably one of the greatest coaches to come from the Lavelle Edwards coaching tree.
You want to know,
and that's saying something.
But you want to know what's funny? And so they were making this comparison is like Kyle Shanahan sort of now is on the Andy Reid trajectory, where it's like you get to the Super Bowl, you don't win one, but it's like he's probably
like when he's going to win coach,
one.
Like you were always like, I don't know, maybe I was like the only one, but like I was a bit of an Eagles fan for a little while, but like I felt bad for Andy Reid even when I wasn't as much of an Eagles fan, because I was just like, this guy is so good at coaching.
It seemed like it seemed like he was always like one thing away, and now he's got the one thing. Because shocking, you basically get Tom Brady again, reincarnated, and you start winning Super Bowls. I mean, freaking wild.
Yeah, I mean, look, if the Chiefs can continue to reload, like can try to find more ways to reload and not screw the pooch like they did with Tyreek Hill. If they can find some offensive weapons, they're set up to potentially, down the road, unseat Tom. Mahomes could unseat Tom Brady.
Yeah, he's got.
But it's too early to say he will. I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not one of those guys, one of those national pundits who's sitting here like, Mahomes may be the greatest quarterback we've ever seen. Sort of, it's like, yeah, he might be, but
he's on that trajectory.
His career hasn't yet gotten to the point of taking over time. I mean, because you and I had this debate not debate, but we had this discussion a couple weeks ago where it was for me, Tom Brady isn't necessarily the greatest quarterback of all time, but there's no doubt he had the greatest career of all time.
Yeah,
I know maybe that sounds like semantics, but like for me, the difference is important because we're talking about the most talented players on the position versus the most successful players in the position. And for me, there's a difference.
Most
we've already had that discussion.
I would say most people have that difference.
I think your average Joe watching, if the person's had the greatest career, they'll just equate it to the greatest player.
But
even your NFL players will say,
but
Tom Brady's really such all the he has and everything. It's like, well, that's also situations that allowed him to win the championship.
Well, I laugh because they're saying like, oh, Mahomes is already better than Manning, and I'm like, Manning had to go through Tom Brady like every year. They're like, well, he had like, and then somebody made the comment underneath mine. It was like, well, Manning had 9 one-and-dones. Mahomes hasn't had that yet. And I'm like, I'm like, it doesn't matter. Do you not like? It's almost like people forget when it gets to the playoffs. Never necessarily the best team that wins is the team that just gets hot at the right time. A lot of times that does it. So it's that. So I'm like, I don't think that matters. I would say the only reason why we count playoff wins is because we want some sort of dividing factor to say this player's superior to the other.
I mean, I honestly think in his prime, there's a discussion to be made for Peyton Manning as the greatest quarterback of all time.
Manning, the funny part is if you
in
look
his
at
prime,
Manning,
obviously when he got injured, he was never the same after that. But
got hit when his neck, but I mean, like Manning never really had the weapons Brady had. Like
that's true.
There was no. He had a Dallas Clark. Dallas Clark doesn't shine to Gronk. He had he had Randy Moss for a year. Yeah, Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison are good, but they ain't that good. Like. And they both had Wes Welker.
And yet, we had the discussion last week, and you're talking about Reggie Wayne, but you're not able to call Reggie Wayne elite like you called Ayuk elite last week.
Okay, well, Reggie Wayne, I guess is Reggie Wayne?
Because I mean, to me, Reggie Wayne, Ayuk is not quite there yet. He's still young in his career, but
maybe.
Like,
I guess because I watched him a lot.
Ayuk in fantasy for a couple years. He had a good year this year.
You know what the problem with Ayuk?
He was not.
The problem with Ayuk, but I think it's a Shanahan offense mainly, is like for whatever weird reason, it's like they'll lean heavy on one and never touch the other one. Because like I had Debo, so Debo would be like 23 points a couple weeks and then like 5 the next week. So it's like, all right.
Yeah. That's why I'm drafting Puka first next year.
First round Puka.
First round pick Puka. First round Puka.
I gotta re-up.
I mean, it's not gonna be Cooper Kupp anymore. Cooper Kupp seems like he's bit the dust, but
yeah, well. Speaking of biting the dust, one person who won't bite the dust is good old Arte Moreno, who's apparently, quote, here for the long haul. I'm sure you're excited. You can't even see it anymore, but I'm sure you're excited. He still hasn't fixed that E.
I'm not going. Why would I?
But apparently he's here for the long haul. I don't. I'll let you go because my opinion can be summed up in one sentence.
I mean, we've talked about this. You could basically.
We've talked about it at length.
if you wanted, you could take like you could like take like a 10-minute clip of discussions we've had on this. And just like insert here. Like why, Artie? Why? What's the point? Do you not see the stagnation of this team?
No.
And like if Artie, if you wanted me to be happy, Artie, about you staying, then I want to hear you say, I am going to clean house. Everybody. I know it's not gonna happen. I know. Trust me, that's part of my point. But if he wanted me to be happy about him saying he would clean house of literally every executive inside the Angels organization and say, I'm going to hire, I don't know, you'd have to give me a name. You'd know more names better. But like, I'm going to hire this person and he's going to advise me on every other hire I need to be making right now. Because look, I love the Ron Washington hire. Mm-hmm. I think honestly the Angels are going to be actually moderately better than they were last year.
Yeah,
because Ron Washington's going to get more out of this team than than what Phil Nevin was getting. But the problem is that may put them like on the cusp of the playoffs. Well, and then Artie's going to be like, look. That's me. I'm a miracle worker. We lost Shohei, but we made the playoffs.
Well, I was talking in my Angel group chat. Like that was one thing I talked about, or I think all of us sort of agreed on. Like last year, the team underperformed because Nevin sucked. I think they'll win more than 73 games. Like if they finish it at 500, it wouldn't shock me. But I think they'll be just outside of the playoff chase. But like that first tier just outside of it, where it's like they'll be just competitive enough to stay in it for the long haul, but not enough to win it.
I will say this to breathe life into any Angels fans who maybe are disheartened by this. Often when these kind of sales happen, there is this moment where the owner is like, keeping them. I'm holding on. I'm in here for the long haul, and then all of a sudden,
an
offer that could not be,
So
denied kind of thing.
So our friends over at Locked On Halos talked about it more so at length. Go check that. I'll leave it was on their Friday video. This is going up Monday, but I'll leave a link down. I'll leave a link down below in the YouTube description. But I commented on it and I said, looking at this from 10,000 feet, in my opinion, looking at this from 10,000 feet, in my opinion, Artie's holding on for a couple of reasons. One, similar to Dan Snyder with Washington, a lot less serious, mind you. He doesn't listen to anyone. And he's very unliked all around. Two, the TV deals and issues, especially if a new owner isn't good with deals. Frankly, Artie should just be booted by the MLB. But who knows? He says one thing and does another. I don't think anyone should be shocked if he ends up selling at the end of 24. I think that's true because I think he's surrounded by yes men, but he's not liked by other owners at all. That's been stated before. But I do wonder. I really do wonder if the TV deal's the problem, because if the new owner has to negotiate that, who knows how it'll go. So I don't know if he's just like, well, I want to be like, he could easily be like, well, I want to be the one to negotiate the new deal. Then the new owner doesn't have to worry about it. We can get more money for it. Because somebody said that Victor, I'm guessing on Angels win, Victor confirmed he got a $3 billion offer and that he retained 10% ownership. Apparently Victor said that on Angels win. I don't know. I don't listen to Angels win that often. But he didn't take $3 billion with 10. I don't know what he was looking for. I don't know. What? I mean, we'll see.
Remember when Sam Blum did that podcast where he like basically released the Q&A from that Arte did over, what was it? Was that in spring training last year?
Yeah, I was in spring training last year.
And do you remember one of the questions that was asked? Like, basically, I can't remember who. I think it was Sam Blum asked, like, you were not liked, or like something like basically the unpopularity of ownership in the front office came up, and Arte was basically like,
his response was,
I don't know. I see nothing but positive responses from the fans about what we do here. And it's like,
he only listens to probably a handful. Because he says like, I think the same thing. He's like, well, I don't really like look at Twitter. And I'm like, I don't buy it. You know exactly what's going on. It's just I don't think I think when he says like, he only hears the good things, and it's probably like, I'm sure he gets letters from fans to say like, oh, the Angels experience was so good, and that's what he's referring to. But I don't think the masses don't probably think that way.
Maybe he's okay with like your casual Angels fan that all they care about is like, yeah, I'm just gonna go enjoy a day trip to the ballpark with my family. Like,
you have to.
The Angels Stadium's still a decent experience.
But the thing the thing that I think the common Joe forgets a lot of times is how the average fan that goes to like Angel Stadium, a lot of times, I mean, they don't know any better. They're kind of there like on a work trip or something. Like, how many of them actively are watching the game? Maybe 30%.
Yeah.
Like,
no, yeah, I mean,
you got the handful that do, but the most of them are just there to be seen and not watch.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying is like, I think like he doesn't realize the fans that are actually interested in the Angels' success don't hate him. I've interacted with like one, maybe two fans across all social media and in person, where there's been one, I think, person that's ever said, I think Arte does an okay job. Look, he spends all this kind of money, blah, 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 blah. And
there's nothing to show for it.
He spends money on like a couple of big pieces and then just to draw in like crowds. And then it's like, cool, look, I've got the fourth highest payroll in all of baseball. And it's like, yeah, but you didn't spend money to actually bolster the position groups. You basically just spent enough money to say.
I'm gonna read.
Something on the field.
I'm gonna read something in response to. This is off of a Facebook Angels group, but I'm gonna read what they said in regards to Mike Moustakas signing with the White Sox, because I think it's just hilarious and probably sums up a lot of it. So this person said, "Wow, Moose only signed a minor league deal with the White Sox. You're telling me that this garbage had been literally put this garbage." They've been signing is better. Oh, this garbage they've been signing is better than Moose. If Arte and Perry continue this bargain shopping, you could have signed Moose, which I think is hilarious. So, like, we were talking about, like, Angel fans were very mad that he didn't re-sign. It's like, what are we gonna do? Like, I've always joked. I've used you'll understand this. I jokingly said, give him the UD treatment. Like, you sign him, he's the unofficial coach and never plays. Kind of like how Udonis Haslem was for the last decade. But I thought that was hilarious, where it's like, yeah, they're bargain shopping. This trash Moose is better than that trash. And then today they signed a utility veteran infielder. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, I liked Moustakas when he was, for that short period, because he was a good, like, influence on the young guys and on the clubhouse. But, like, to make him like a long-term any kind of solution for the next season would just be like saying this season's done.
Well, that's why I was jokingly saying it's like where it was like I've been saying in like my chats is jokingly like, oh, give him the, like I said, the UD treatment, where it's like, you know what he's there for. You give him.
I mean, look, I like Moustakas. Moose is great, but like he's not.
But yeah,
he's not an answer.
To sum that little bit up, I would put it this way. You're going to get the Moose treatment from Washington, who will gladly build up the young guys probably better than Moose ever did. But sure. I digress. I digress at this point. Okay, so we get to talk about all three major consoles.
Yeah.
When's the last time that happened?
Been a long
time. Get all three. Which one do you want to talk about first? The Switch, the PlayStation, the Xbox? You get your pick. Pick your own adventure.
Well, let's talk PlayStation 6. Like, obviously, that's one you're probably most excited about.
Not. I have my thoughts.
I mean, we talked about this. We talked about like, so let's just bundle these basically, because like we could sit here and talk about like specifics as we go along, but like, I don't know. I think what we kind of discussed is it feels like in terms of actual improvement from console to console, like. The Switch 2,
no. Okay, so
when that does come out, will probably have a bit of a leap because it has a leap that it can make.
Well, it has a leap because it was so bad to begin with.
Yeah, it was so underpowered. But like the PlayStation 6 and the Xbox, it's like, where do we go?
So
what are they actually going to do?
So here's what's fascinating to me, at least to me in that perspective, is you get, and I think I briefly touched on this when I was talking about like you get these like, I don't want to say elitist. I don't think they're elitist, but they were very upset with the idea of games still being on the PlayStation 4 because the PlayStation 3 or the 5's been out for 4 years. And it's like, why are we still making games for this? It should be gone. And I really think it's because the technological leap between the 4 and the 5 isn't really as big as you think it is. So they're not necessarily losing money on it personally. And I think, I have a funny suspicion that that's how games are going to be going forward, is you're not going to see, we've reached the point in terms of consoles where you're not going to get like, kind of like you were saying, like the leap from 4 to 5 PlayStation or like Xbox to 1 to S or X. I don't think you're necessarily seeing those leaps anymore that we used to see. You've reached the point of like limiting return where it's like, what are we really getting in this? And it's like, you're getting better backgrounds, but I think in terms like realistically, I think you're actually getting less because of it. Because now like you're reaching to with like FPSs where it's like, if you're playing at a high level, you're actually going to be playing it on low. You drop all that stuff to low.
Yeah.
So, but basically to put it in one sense, I think we've reached the point where the 4 won't go away till the 6 comes out, and I don't think the 5 is going to go away till like the 7, like the PlayStation 7 comes out. That's what I think, because we've reached the point where it's like, what? I mean, they're all bad computers, but it's like you're reaching this point where it's like, in terms of the specs, they're better, but ultimately, like, it's like putting a new graphics card in your computer.
Yeah, no,
at least in terms of that.
I mean, because from what it seems like, you're gonna have a next gen PlayStation, but then a mid gen Xbox. So Microsoft doesn't care anymore about.
Microsoft doesn't care but the whole thing,
like, we're not gonna match. Well, what Sony's doing. We're just gonna keep doing our own.
What makes me laugh, and somebody else said this, basically said my thoughts, is I'm like, the best way to game, realistically, is your primary is your PC. You get PlayStation for PlayStation exclusives, but you get a Switch because it's Nintendo. Because you want to play mobile.
For me, there's not enough PlayStation exclusives anymore.
No, but I'm saying like, but what I'm saying is like in like, because I mean we talked about this last week. Apparently they're not releasing any like big ones the rest of the calendar year. But yeah,
they're first party ones.
Yeah, but like realistically, it's like that's the perfect realm, right? It's like, every console has its purpose for the most part. But like I said, I think we're going to be entering that time frame of like, not everything's going to be, you're going to get time gated stuff on the previous console, but I don't think you're going to get like where we had it, where it's like, it's going to be thrown in the trash. I think there's still, because like I said, there is scaling wise, it doesn't look much different one to the other. Because we've reached the point of limiting returns. It's the way it is.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It's like, when the PlayStation 6 comes out, it's like, I still feel like people are barely able to just get the PlayStation 5.
I don't think
like,
when it
was so long delay. Like, there's so long shortages on the
shortages were
production.
So long, but I don't think now you're hearing people say like we can't find PlayStations. I think now you can find PlayStations.
No, that's what I'm saying though. It feels like now it's just like it almost makes it feel like it's still like a new console in a way. Like,
yeah, because
but they're already talking.
We haven't.
Let's go to the new one.
Yeah, they're saying like, well, it's in the latter half, and it's like, well, what the hell is it? It's like, what does that mean? And no one really knows. Me personally, I think you're not going to see a new console till at least 26 at the earliest, 27, like holiday 26. I don't see them speeding up the process. But personally, but like I said, no one really knows except for them. That these guys could know something, could just be like, hey, it's going to be out in 2025 because we're not putting out any exclusives. That's why. Because apparently, like, that's what the Switch is doing. They're going to release a new one in the next year. So,
it's early 2025.
Which I think is probably a pipe dream.
That one's the one I'm looking more forward to see what they do. Because, like, if they beef up the power and beef up the graphics, like, I could see, like, okay, that would be a more exciting time. Because then if you also package that in with, say you come out with a new Mario platformer, or at the very least you revamp Wonder, and then maybe you put out Mario Maker 3, and a few other games. It's like, and a new Zelda game maybe, or you revamp what's the
Tears
most
of the
recent
Kingdom.
Zelda game?
Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom. I think if you do all of that,
think about just for
then
Nintendo,
you might be able to build more hype than even what Sony.
Think about this for Nintendo, because I've had this conversation multiple times with people. We haven't had a new Mario game since the launch title of this since 2017 with the Switch, so that'll get people going.
Well,
we haven't
you're saying a launch title.
I'm saying like a main series Mario game, like Odyssey.
Wonder, I think,
like Odyssey.
Wonder not a main
like Super Mario, like just straight up standard Mario, the way we've known him. We haven't had one. We've had re-releases.
I thought that was what Wonder was
not in the same, like, not. I think when I'm thinking like main series like Odyssey and stuff. I don't think Wonder's that. I think Wonder's like an offshoot. But we haven't had like an
Odyssey is an offshoot.
No, it's not. Odyssey's main series.
No, main series is the 2D platformers.
Well, I'm saying like 64 onward. So like that from 64 Sunshine Galaxy.
Still people think 2D platformers are the main series.
All right, maybe should I say the 3D Marios? Is that better? So like,
sure, yeah, no, 3D Marios. You're talking 3D, yeah, no, because you're talking main series. I'm like, so you're talking Super Mario Brothers, Super Mario Brothers 2, Super Mario Brothers 3,
I'm saying
Super Mario
64.
World,
what we know, what we would consider main series going from 64 onward. We haven't had one since 2017. Or 2017.
Super Mario Brothers Wii, which was the main platformer on that, was also 2D. No, 2D is the main thing.
It's 2D.
The only reason 64 and GameCube both had 3D only,
and the Wii,
and not
Galaxy.
No, the Wii didn't only the Wii's main platformer was
Super Mario Wii? 2D
Super Mario Wii.
I'm not a Mario guy.
Wii, and then Super Mario Wii was followed up by Super Mario.
Oh, it was a 2D platform. Maybe Wonder is. Maybe Wonder is.
So Wonder is supposed to be continuing on that main.
Yeah, because Odyssey came
64 and then Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey came out.
Sorry, it's 64 Sunshine,
Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2, Sunshine.
Galaxy 2.
Bowser's Fury, technically, I think somewhere in there.
3D World, you can kind of say 3D World and 3D Land.
Yeah, the stuff
kind of are in that realm.
But like the traditional like Mario game that we've sort of known, we haven't had one like that since 2017. So I think that's been sort of like the biggest hint.
So you're saying not the traditional, the 3D.
Okay, you know what I'm getting to.
Traditional is the 2D.
A 3D Mario, 64 style,
like an immersive experience.
A 3D Mario game that we've known for the last 20 odd years.
Yes, because when you talk main series, you're talking what's on Mario Maker 2. Those are the main series.
So but I'm thinking like the 3D immersive world.
3D platform.
What I would say then, yes, a 3D platformer with the actual thing.
What you associate with, because your interest in platformers tends to be in a 3D perspective.
Oh, I'm just sort of,
so
yeah.
You consider, it's a personal way your mind works.
My brain thinks of it.
Yeah. So fandom is.
So I'm thinking of that. So like the 3D immersive game we haven't had since 2017.
I get you now. But you confused me. I was like, Wonder was a main series.
And then on top of it too, something that's interestingly noted is that Pokemon. So Pokemon's done with Scarlet and Violet DLC's out. It's done. That's finished. They're moving on to you're probably gonna get a new Pokemon game this holiday season with Black and White remakes. So it would make sense for them to make another main series Pokemon game whenever the Switch comes out, probably holiday of 25, 26. But they, like we're reaching the point where it's like, yeah, you're going to see things sort of shift over more than likely. in the next however long. Who knows? It seems like they're moving that direction. When will happen? I know. The only thing we know is like Xbox saying we're going to put four games on other platforms. We don't know which four, but we do know Diablo's coming to the Game Pass. So step one, I suppose, at the end of Xbox. So I guess we might see Halo on a PlayStation.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's all... There's a lot of time left.
I mean, yeah, Xbox or Microsoft definitely seems to be moving away from exclusives because
they said it seems like they're. I was looking. I wanted to pull up their Twitter.
They're seeing what I think is the future, which is that consoles are not going to be a main source of income, even for Sony. Like look at Sony; they're starting to move a lot of their exclusives.
No, you're true. I stand by this. You're 1,000% better off if you're a game developer than putting your time into a PC port and making games for PC first than you are making them for a console. 1,000%.
We agree on that much. You think that there's still a lot of benefit to be had in a console, which I think Microsoft still says.
I think there's benefits in a console, but I don't think.
I think consoles will be dead at some point.
I think
maybe not dead, but they'll be kind of a niche.
If you wanted to make the take that console will be gone in 10 years, I wouldn't say you're probably wrong, because I think you're going to see that PCs are going to become more are becoming more affordable and will become insanely affordable. So, and we're entering that phase too, where it's like kids like our people we know having kids that played games. What are they going to suggest with their son, daughter, when their child says, "Hey, we want to start playing. I want to play video games." What are they going to do? Are they going to go out and buy a console, or are they going to be like, "Hey, let's buy you a PC that'll last you way longer, and we can just as long as we keep it in good shape, we can spend $1,200 and only have to pay $500 for a new graphics card, and you're good for another 10, 15 years." Whereas, like, you don't get that with the console. It's a $500 thing that lasts 5 years.
Yeah.
Like I think you're gonna move to that direction, and you're gonna move to like a subscription gaming platform like we already have with Microsoft with Xbox. I'm sure PlayStation will have one where you're paying $20, you get a good amount of stuff for free. That's where it's gonna be. Like, you're not gonna own anything, whatever. I don't know if people necessarily care a whole bunch, but like that's where we're probably gonna be headed for.
Yeah.
Like in the next however long, that's what we're gonna be getting, and that's I guess I don't think that's necessarily a problem. I think the issue that will arise eventually is just the amount of game preservation, but we'll get there when we get there. But we're moving to a digital space where it's gonna be computers probably for the most part. Like I said, I don't think that's a bad thing. It's the way the world's gonna be, because a $1,200 PC versus a $500 console, what's gonna last longer in the long run? Because think about this, I got my PC right before the PlayStation 5 came out, or just after the PlayStation 5 came out. It's gonna outlast the PlayStation 5. I mean, I should have replaced the graphics card, but it's going to outlast the PlayStation 5, the PlayStation 5's life cycle. Like, it's just the way it is.
I don't disagree. There's not a nice, intense debate like what we had last week.
Unless you want to talk about the Stream Deck going to kill the Switch.
I don't think we're gonna. I don't think we're gonna find much disagreement there either.
No, because we both see it. We both see it because we're looking at it from the standpoint of an investment, and it's a better investment on a PC versus a console. Like you might have a console for like television purposes, because that's
I thought you were talking about something. I thought you were saying but I thought you were saying something about the
Stream Deck
on the Switch. I was like, well, the answer to that is no. But
no, it won't.
That's only because Nintendo will never die.
Oh, Nintendo's like cockroach; it'll never die because the Nintendo.
Don't get me wrong. The Stream Deck I think is a great, is a fun time.
The funny part about it to me is like Nintendo has its own little realm of the gaming world, and it's gonna outlast probably everybody because it's like you have its niche thing, it knows what it's good at, and doesn't go stray away from it. You know, the other two could learn something from them.
Sure.
All right. Anything else you want to talk about?
No, I don't. Because
your boy's got a 12-hour stream, so I like to go to bed, and it's almost 11.
Yeah, let's get Spects to bed so that way he can be tired tomorrow. There's a guy, I follow. It's gonna Batman in a chair was doing a long stream. He had 103 people watching him sleep.
Yeah, I truth.
He has a VOD going. going.
There were,
but he's sleeping, and there's 103 people sitting in his stream.
There's a guy who's doing a subathon at one point, but he was on YouTube, and he was just replaying like his old YouTube series when he slept for the 8 hours. Like, and there are people watching because there's people who are on graveyard shifts and want the white noise and want to interact with people, and there's people overseas who want to watch. But I ain't doing that. But yeah. So when this goes up, I'll be sleeping probably all day. But we'll see you guys later. Have a good week and play some games. And we've entered the boring part of sports, so it's going to be a rough February until we get into March Madness. I will probably screw up our March Madness bracket again.
Yay!
All right. We'll see you guys all.